Hey everyone, Jesse here. Wanted to do an update on the aquaponics system. Just got through a hurricane with a bunch of rain, and I think we got about anywhere from 5 to 10 inches of rain, depending on where you're at. So made sure to fill up buckets of water and get some good fresh water down here. We also caught a few more minnows when we were down at the local pond. Probably have about 100 or so minnows, ranging from maybe a half an inch to 2 inches. So a good variety of minnows, and the water is super clear, as you can see. Just from the last time that I did this, I kind of split it up. This originally was the first tote that I had started with clay pebbles and kind of this ebb and flow bed, so it fills up with water as soon as it hits a certain level, which is a little bit below these rocks. That's when it drains completely and drains back into the tank. So that was first. We upgraded to a 17-gallon tank. There's, I think, 1 or 2 bags of lava rock on the very bottom of this, and then the top couple inches are these clay pebbles, Hydrotone from Amazon. From there, so we have 2 valves to get the water out. This one's controlling it, not too fast, not too slow, and that makes sure that it continues to just raise and lower in that bed. This one is almost maxed out. We need a little bit of restriction on this one, so it's turned a tiny bit to restrict the water flow, just so that it can get up to this top one, and then basically the remaining water pressure, minus 10% or so, is going straight into this tote. We have 2 possible drains in this one. This is going right to the bottom, and there's kind of a gap on these bricks, so the water is actually going down, and it's probably below the water level, going right down into the middle. With all the water flow that was going in here, this was just making a horrendous sound, and it's super loud and everything. So I just went ahead and drilled holes all across the front side. I have some ones that are higher up in case it gets plugged a little bit, but it kind of gives you an idea of how much water is going in. I did that on the back side just to get a little water flow, and again on this side. When I did that, it actually cleared up the water and all the stuff that was sitting on the bottom. It just, I don't know if it sucked it all up and just put it all in there. But the water quality really went up from that. I did take out the filter from that, from the pond pump. So normally there's a mesh filter in the front half of that, and basically I said, just get all the particles and shove them through, and probably most of them are going to go through there. So that's what I did with that. This tank is primarily the filter tank, so I just took some mint. Mint propagates really easily in water, and I took cuttings. I just ripped them out of the grass it's just growing locally here, and the mint's starting to grow in this box. I also have been doing a lot of sweet potato, so I've tried a few different ways to propagate sweet potato. See if I can pull this one up without breaking it. This one is just sitting in water. So if you see here, the water level set right there, it stays the same, and so basically water's always flowing through this at the same rate. And this was just a cutting. I think it had a tiny little root on it, and so now it's rooting out. Once this grows a bit, I'll either pot it up, or maybe if it's going to rain for a couple days, I can go put this in the ground somewhere. For now, I'm just going to stick this guy in here, and he can continue to grow out in these pebbles. So that's a good way of doing it. Sweet potatoes just been rooting really easily. These guys, they just were rooting in this. So this is method number 2, which might be a little bit better. A little better root ball already. I think they were started around the same time. So I could probably plant this in a little pot in dirt, let it grow in the shade, continue to grow a little bit, and then transplant it. for now, we'll just put it back in the rocks and see if I can cover that up somewhat without damaging it too much. So that's method number 2, and all these have come off of this sweet potato, which basically I placed about halfway up. You can see the water level on this guy. As soon as I get these little slips that are coming off, sometimes they start rooting on their own. I think I got some ants or bugs in here. But basically, you can kind of see what the root system's looking like already. I could break off this slip. Kind of ruining the roots here. It's already really good. So just from this slip, I will plant this. Probably put this in here. Make a trench or something. Let this get a little bit bigger. So we got all sorts of methods. So already just from this one sweet potato plant, I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I planted out 3 slips already. So potentially, you know, we get 10 or so. I don't know how long this guy can go for. I'll just continue to take pieces off, grow them out, and eventually I'll just have an entire system of sweet potatoes growing. I'll eat their leaves, and hopefully we can grow some plants from it. So that's just the update of what the system has been doing for me so far. I have a rosemary that's rooted out. This is some kang that's growing in seed, and I've been transplanting those into some hydroponics totes, which have been doing okay. This is pothos. This is another really easy one to root out. Basically, I get 100% rooting out from these. They can grow directly in water. Normally, if I put them in this type of flood and drain system, they do a little bit better. And so over time, the best thing I found for this type of pond aquaponics system is just growing new plants. Pays for itself. The system's probably around $150, $175 total. You can see some of my previous videos on how to set it up and how to get it running, but making new plants is definitely the most cost-effective way of returning your investment. So with that, thanks for watching.